episode 5 of the Duck Boat Dispatch. Gonna be a different episode. Sarah's at work, Josh is at work, I'm working 9 to midnight tonight. So we're joined again by our good friend Matt Skillings, hopping on the pod to help out so it's not me for one full hour just going, because nobody wants to hear that. Skillings, appreciate you jumping in last minute.
Anytime, kid. Anytime. Nobody, like you just said, not a single person in this world wants to hear your voice for an hour straight.
Well, James Barry might. He's our biggest fan. Shout out James Barry. He listens at work. But a surprisingly good week for Boston sports. Like, a lot went on. There was a lot to talk about. Celtics, you're getting the rumors of they don't want to trade JB, Derek White. They would prefer not to. But Holiday, Hauser, Porzingis are on the market. Bruins, we heard from Marco Sturm. We'll get into that a little bit. But the big one have been the Patriots and the Red Sox. Red Sox take two out of 3 against the Rays, 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, have tonight off. They're back in action tomorrow against the Yankees for a 3-game series at Fenway Park. Roman Anthony has finally arrived. It was because of an injury, but he has finally arrived on the Boston Red Sox. And Patriots mandatory minicamp has started, and that's where I want to start today's episode, because for me, mandatory minicamp, there's one thing I care about, and that is, do they show up? I'm not really going to live and die by May went 11 for 12 today and 7 on 7s, because there's no contact yet. I'm not going to focus on that too much. I'm really just, has everybody showed up, and are they practicing? That's what I care about. Everybody has shown up so far. There's no situation like last year with Matthew Judon, who was just causing havoc, looking for a contract, calling out Mayo, everything along those lines. That was a big story. None of that this year, which is, to me, a win. And it shows, again, we have an adult in the room with Mike Vrabel. We're going to get into Efton Chisholm, Stephon Diggs, who needs whom more. And I do want to dive into the Keon White comments. But Skillings, what is your take on mandatory minicamp? Because mine, as I said, is, are you showing up? That's what I care about.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is letting the Vrabel and all the players talk to media for the first time and just seeing what, the tone of the room is after Gerard Mayo last year was such a mess, dude. Like, that guy, just because you know football doesn't make you a good head coach, and that was pretty clearly shown. Vrabel's a guy who commands a room. He, by all accounts, seems like he's running that place like an army. But people love him from what we've heard so far. So that's my real take on it, is just seeing guys talk to the media and just getting the overall vibe, because that's, I feel like, pretty much all you can pick up on in minicamp right now.
And speaking of guys talking to the media, Diggs talked to the media for the first time so far this season since his introductory press conference. And obviously, he was asked about the boat situation in the video a lot, and I think he handled it pretty well. Obviously, they just kept asking him over and over, and he just kept saying, I'm not going to repeat myself. And, he doesn't want to be rude, but he's also like, hey, I've talked to Vrabes. We've handled this. We're going to keep that conversation to ourselves, which is just a complete 180 from last year. I feel like the players would have gone, I don't know if Mayo was here this year, I don't know if Diggs would have said anything, but I guarantee you, Mayo would have told us every single word of that conversation if he was still here with Stephon Diggs. Am I wrong? He could not keep anything secret.
No, not at all. Stephon Diggs, all I ever think about when I think about Stephon Diggs is that video of when he was on the Vikings and everybody was like,
who would you least like to date your sister?
Least like to date your sister, and everybody goes Stephon Diggs. He goes, they said me, dude.
I'm a great guy.
He showed maturity, for a guy who hasn't shown a ton of maturity in his career, as far as off the field antics go. Yeah, pretty bad look having the pink baggie of who knows what it was, but the fact that he's here and willing to just kind of brush it off, I'm sure he's talked with Vrabel about it. This guy's been in the league for so many years now. Don't just let him have his fun. Obviously, don't do pink cocaine, but
allegedly,
he's holding the bag. But
it was lemonade mix that your mom gets at the dollar store or whatever.
Pink lemonade mix is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he just he was like, don't use all of it in the mix. Gotta save some for later.
Dude, that stuff is so good.
I got his back.
Yeah.
But you make a great point. Diggs, 10-year vet. He doesn't need those. I don't want to say he doesn't need those, optional OTA where, those OTAs, he doesn't need that as much as guys like Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Booty. These guys who pretty much suck. Or rookies or, second year players. He's a 10-year vet. Yes, he is rehabbing an ACL injury, which is where I kind of wanted to pivot to with Diggs is, when do you think we see him suit up? Because I think that's the big question with Diggs. Yeah, you can say, is it going to be a problem? Is there going to be drama? I quite frankly don't care if there's drama as long as he's on the field week one, because I'm expecting him to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year and the number one wide receiver for the Patriots. So when do you think we see Diggs suit up? Because I'm hopeful it's week one. I'm expecting by at least week 5.
Yeah, and I wouldn't hate for him to miss 2-3 weeks, only because you have such a log jam of all these. Like you got Diggs up front, and then just all these no name second, third year guys. I wouldn't hate seeing some of them try and carve out a roster spot before Diggs gets back added to the roster. Um, Obviously, once Diggs is there, he's going to draw a ton of coverage, and hopefully, the guys that do prove themselves in the first couple of weeks are going to be, um, ready to take on that responsibility because they're not going to be facing other teams' number one, number two cornerbacks because Diggs is gonna command all that. So I wouldn't hate seeing him miss a couple weeks. Like I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Like I'm not expecting this to be a playoff team. That's a a full that would be a shock and a surprise and a pleasant surprise at that. But give it a couple weeks. Let everybody prove themselves. All those receivers.
Yeah, and with the strength of schedule, week one the Raiders, yeah, I don't think they need him to beat them. I don't know if they're going to beat that team just because again, I have said before, and I know you haven't been here, I have much lower expectations for this team than I think the average Patriots fan. I just don't know how many wins Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels really do add to this team. Yeah, the roster is improved from last year, but the roster was a 4-13 team last year. It's not difficult to improve on that roster. So I'm cautiously optimistic for this season. I see them around that 7-8 win team. But I think as long as you get Stephon Diggs back by week 3, you get him up and going because he's going to want to play that week 5 game against Buffalo. You know he's going to want that revenge game. He's been waiting for it. He's going to want to pop off against his old team, who I think he has some issues with still. Wouldn't surprise me as a guy who holds a grudge. But again, it all comes down to what type of Diggs are we getting? Are we getting the guy we've seen in Minnesota, Buffalo, even the guy he was on pace to be in Houston? Or is he coming off of this ACL injury a completely different player? All reports from minicamp say that he still looks like the fastest guy out there, the twitchiest guy out there. He's got the best hands on the team still. But again, is that because Diggs is still that guy? Or is it because the wide receiver talent we have in the room is so low, he still looks impressive?
Yeah, I mean he's on the wrong side of 30 now, right? Like he's coming off an ACL injury. You don't see guys get better at that point in their career, especially coming off an injury like that. What you're hoping for is he can just be stable, sturdy, 7 catches, 80 yards a game. That would be so money if he could do that. Honestly, a lot of it is going to come from him leading these younger guys off the field, teaching them how to be pros. Who knows if he can do that? But that is kind of the key, the way I kind of see it, kind of like Alex Bregman in Boston at Fenway Park. Like, yeah, he's hurt right now, but I think his off the field presence does bring, some sort of maturity for Mayer, for Anthony, for Campbell, and hopefully that's what Diggs is for this team.
And I know you're dying to get into the Red Sox. We are going to get there, I promise you, Skillings. We have a
Sorry to
lot to
cross
talk
sports.
about. We have a lot to talk. It is the one team that's playing, but we do have a lot to talk about with that team. But before we get there, are you buying in on the Efton Chisholm hype? Because I am seeing reports from, Tommy Curran, Giardi, any beat reporter from the Patriots, like, this guy seems legit. But you also, I'm cautiously optimistic with this team, is the phrase I'm going to use all the way up until the season, because again, it's minicamp. They can't really grab them on the defensive side. They can't really hit them on the defensive side. So let's see what happens when they go full contact. But I've seen the videos. He does look twitchy. He does look like a good route runner. And he does, I don't want to be that guy, but he looks like a Julian Edelman, a Danny Amendola, a Wes Welker. And it's just, with Josh McDaniels back, I think this guy is going to feast. And I know I said I want to be cautiously optimistic, but I do just think he's got everything on his side right now. He's got a good quarterback. He's got an offensive coordinator who loves to work with the guy in the slot, and he's just and a wide receiver room that's so open. I think he'll get the chances he needs to kind of succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, not the biggest Patriots guy here, not the biggest football guy, but I know, enough. Where do the Pats stand on slot guys? Because this guy could be your best option. Like you're gonna have, Diggs and whoever else, shows themselves in camp, but like having a shifty, quick guy in the slot is so huge. Like that's what so many great Patriots teams have been built on. And I think that's gonna give a big option for Drake May to throw to in those check down 5, 8 yard passes. Um, I don't know that I didn't know who this guy was a week ago, and I've seen some clips of him. He's solid. Like he's shifty. He's everything you want from a slot receiver. So hopefully, like I don't know if I'm buying into him yet, but why not give him his shot?
Especially with how bad the wide receiver room is, Skillings. They have the places to put him in. If you look at the wide receiver room, like who it could be, you have like 9 guys vying for 6 spots. So there's gonna be a few people left out because you have Diggs, Williams, Matt Collins, and I would say Pop Douglas are your guaranteed 4 to make the roster
Not
as a
Matt
wide
Collins.
receiver. I said Matt Collins.
He did. My bad.
Yeah, Diggs, Williams, Hollins, Pop Douglas. Those
Yeah,
4.
yeah, yeah.
And then you have a combination of Kendrick Bourne, Kayshawn Boutte, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Efton Chisholm. Somebody is going to be left out somewhere. There's a logjam. There is a logjam, and it's not like it's a good wide receiver room to have a logjam in. You're fighting between guys of Kayshawn Boutte, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. These aren't guys you're like, oh, it's going to be tough to cut. One is going to be, no, it's going to be tough to keep 2 of them, I think. So I think Chisholm really has if he can show up, show out, prove himself. He's gotten high praise from Vrabel, McDaniels, May, Diggs so far. He has a very good shot of making this roster, in my opinion, just because the room is so bad. And maybe Vrabel's like, you know what? I don't want to waste a spot on Polk, Baker. Guys, I wasn't here for. Just get rid of them. Cut your losses now. Jalen Polk is going to be the second coming of N'Keal Harry, and he is well on his way to becoming that because he's big, he's strong, he'll make 1 or 2 impressive grabs for a touchdown, and that'll be all you hear from Jalen Polk. And I will be happy to be wrong, but he just has N'Keal Harry written all over him for me. And then Javon Baker can't even get himself on the field last year, and maybe again, that goes back to the coaching situation with Gerard Mayo last year. And speaking of the coaching situation, Keon White took some big shots at Gerard Mayo in his media sessions this week, and I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially said, it's nice to have a coach again. And I just think, like, the shot that takes at Robert Kraft, Gerard Mayo, and this, like, last year as a whole is insane to me that you have a player on the team saying, yeah, we have a coach again. Like, Keon White is, he's very outspoken that he wants a hard-ass type of head coach, tough love. That's what he likes. But even to go as far as saying, yeah, Mayo wasn't my guy, essentially, but to go a step further and saying he wasn't even a coach is insane to me, and it just shows the dysfunction that the organization had last year at the head coaching position.
I think football more than any other sport is a spot where you don't want that player friendly coach. Like I think that very rarely works in the NFL. Like Gerard Mayo was player first, trying to get morale first. Clearly didn't work, but like Vrabel, like I said before, he runs such a tight ship, and he has such a good track record with the Titans. Like, just you don't want that player friendly coach in the NFL. Maybe it works in basketball, maybe it works in the MLB. I just don't think that sort of formula works in the NFL. Like that, it just doesn't ever work. You know.
And if I'm thinking about a guy who I would consider a player-friendly coach, Andy Reid, would that be the best one? I'd say he's more player-friendly than, your regular head coach.
Yeah.
But maybe this, this younger wave of head coaches, Mike McDaniels in Miami, Sean McVay in LA, maybe
Yeah.
Ben Johnson has a little bit of him, that in him as well. Just those young, Cliff Kingsbury is a guy that I would say is, more of a player-friendly head coach, and that might just be the new wave of NFL head coaches. And I hopefully know, because we are seeing guys like Motor City Dan Campbell and have success, and hopefully Mike Vrabel has a ton of success here with the new.
But even with
Excuse
Dan
me.
Campbell, like he is a player friendly coach to an extent. that guy is a psychopath. Like
Yeah, he is
he is
absolutely
not
a
like
tough
he's
love
not
guy.
chopping it up with the guys in the locker room. Like he's loyal and like he cares about the players, which is what you need. But like he's not buddy buddy with them. He's a nut job. Like he's crazy, but he's passionate, and that's what Mayo didn't have. Like he was trying to be buddy buddy with guys. There was no like grit from him. You know what I mean?
No, none at all. I mean, he was playing cards on the plane with these guys instead of watching film on the way back from losses. So I just, again, it really goes to show the dysfunction that this team had, and hopefully Keon White has a bounce back year. He was a guy I was really high on last year. He led the team in sacks, most of them coming in the first half of the season. So hopefully he's a guy who can thrive in this new offense, and he's got some defensive line help as well coming in. So hopefully he's a guy that thrives in this new defensive system that Mike Vrabel is going to lead, in this new culture that Mike Vrabel is going to lead, which is all about, he said it's getting rid of entitlement. And I think that's the greatest thing, the greatest way to phrase it. And I don't want to just blow smoke up Vrabel's rear end, but I just really think that is such a good way to describe what this team needed to get rid of. Because if you look at it, Gerard Mayo was through and through like, and I don't want to say embodied entitlement, because obviously he did a ton for the Patriots in his career and where he came from and his background, but he was gifted that job. He was gifted that head coaching job, promised it 3 years ago that he was the successor, just like in, kind of nepotism in a sense, the way he got the job. But I don't want to crap on Gerard Mayo, who's already taken so many punches and, fired after 1 year. He didn't really have a chance to succeed, but it just shows a whole new, every time I read into something about this Patriots, mini camp, OTAs, whatever it may be, just quotes, I just am reminded that there is an adult in the room. There's a guy at the top of the food chain that I trust in Mike Vrabel. And we haven't had that since, I don't want to say Bill Belichick, obviously since Bill Belichick, but even the last few years of Bill, there was a lot of questioning going on with Bill of how he's running his program and things of that nature. And he's, made a lot of bad draft decisions. And I love the draft class so far, even though they haven't started playing. I'm high on this draft class as well. So it's just really nice to have a Patriots team that I believe in. Now, again, I am cautiously optimistic about this team. 7-8 win team is what I think they should be at best, and to me, that's improvement. If they're a 10-win team, I'll be happily surprised, but I just think that's too much. I think that's too much going into May's sophomore season, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new pieces around him. It's too much change, and I just think they're going to struggle at some point in time in this season.
I love what you talked about with the Vrabel wanting to get rid of that sense of entitlement. Like this is no longer like a destination. Not that it necessarily was for a long time. Like obviously they were winning every year, but like you weren't getting these big name receivers and tight ends. Like you drafted well with Gronk and Edelman and Amendola, but like there was just a report that
Chris
Chris
Godwin?
Godwin turned down a huge contract. You're like, this isn't a destination. Like I love what Vrabel's doing in terms of trying to shift the mindset from the dynasty of 2000 to 2019. Like you're not there anymore. You might have a lot of familiar faces. Obviously, Kraft still owns the team. Vrabel was here. Josh McDaniels was here, but it's a new wave. Like that's what you want this era to be.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad you bring up the Chris Godwin point, because it brings us to one last thing I want to touch on, and it's that, do the Patriots need Stephon Diggs? And I think that's just the dumbest question ever. They absolutely need Stephon Diggs, and yeah, was he our first choice for a receiver in the free agent class this year? No. But like you said at Skillings, they are not a destination. They have to overpay talent to come to New England. And they tried it with Chris Godwin, who also is coming off an ACL injury as well. And he suffered it later in the season, so he would be gone longer than Stephon Diggs, and they offered him $30 million a year. And he looked at New England, looked at the roster, looked at how dysfunctional this organization has been in the last 5 years, and said, yeah, I'll take less money to stay in Tampa Bay, where I'm comfortable and I know what's going on here. A team that also just lost their offensive coordinator to the Jacksonville Jaguars, so there's some turnover in that organization, and he still decided, I'll take less money to stay where I am because I just don't want to go there. You saw with obviously they didn't get a chance to get after T. Higgins, but even if they did, what T. Higgins have signed here, they threw a lot of money at Stephon Diggs, who has a lot of question marks around him. So I think you bring up a great point with Chris Godwin. They are not a destination. They have to work their way back to being that destination that people go, yeah, I want to go there to win a ring. Right now, let's just win 7 games, or let's win 8 games for the first time in, what, 3 years at this point. They haven't made the playoffs since our freshman year of college, Skillings. They haven't had a 1,000. They haven't had a 1,000 yard receiver since we were in high school. Skillings and I are college graduates now. We're 22. This is like the bad run they have been on. It was well due. We have been blessed, but it's time now to get back in the winning ways of the New England Patriots that we all know and love at this point. And speaking of winning ways, let's transition now to what I know you're dying to talk about, Skillings, and I am too. The Boston Red Sox are back, baby. They're so back, Skillings. They take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. They take 2 out of 3 against the Rays. And in that Rays series, the kids are why they won those 2 games. Roman Anthony, second career game, 2-run double into left field, stand up double, and then last night, Marcelo Meyer, 2 home runs for the kid. That kid's swing is like butter through a knife, Skillings.
So smooth, dude. He has phenomenal mechanics. I last night sitting watching the game. The game ends. I'm sitting with my parents in my living room. I turn to my mom and dad. I say, "This right here. Remember this game on June 11th against the Rays? They just won a one-run game. They don't do that. This team has not done that. This is a turning point right here, and you have a chance to prove it against the Yankees this weekend. Garrett Crochet starting Friday, but like Mayer won a game for them. Roman Anthony won a game for them. Trevor Story all of a sudden is like, you know what? I'm good now. Giolito had a good start. Walker Buehler had a good start. Like, if you get these starting pitchers, they don't have to be phenomenal. They don't have to be throwing complete games every game. If they do what Walker Buehler, Lucas Giolito, and Brian Bayo did, they all gave up, a few runs, got through 5, 6, 7 innings. Like, dude, I'm telling you, this team is not. It is a turning point right here, and the Yankee series this weekend could absolutely prove it.
They've won 5 out of their last 7. And I think, I mean, yeah, we can talk about Anthony Meyer being the spark plugs. Where has this Trevor Story been the entire month of May and most of April? He just decided, it's like he woke up one day and said, yeah, I'll be a good ball player again. He has that absolutely electric play in the field, catches the ball, turns around, throws it on a dime to first base to get the out. And he's hitting bat flips like we've never seen before from Trevor Story in a Red Sox uniform. Where has this guy been? Because 3 weeks ago, I was saying that they got to DFA this guy. This guy is terrible. Get him off of the team. He's the worst ball player I've seen in my entire life. And we watched Pablo Sandoval and Bobby Dahlbeck in the Red Sox uniforms, and I was like, I can't stand Trevor Story. But now this dude is a dog. TS10's hitting dingers. He's making great plays in the field. I don't know if he's just rejuvenated by these young guys reinvigorated his love for the game or whatever. But whatever Trevor Story's doing, just keep doing it, bud, because you are killing it right now. That 6, 7, 8, 9 part of the lineup was the worst part of the lineup, and he has been the spark plug in that lineup multiple times in the last 7 games of this Boston Red Sox team. You bring up the kids, you got Anthony Meyer, Campbell. Now, Campbell we'll get to because he's been struggling, but let's start with the kids. Let's start with Anthony and Meyer. My big issue, and I know I don't want to be like, yeah, it's great to have him here, but I want more. But I do want more. If they don't play in those Red Sox series because they're throwing out lefties pitchers, the Yankees, I'm gonna be pissed. There is they just won you this series against the Rays, and they're gonna be like, yeah, they're playing lefties. We're not gonna play them. Play the kids. They're gonna have to learn to hit lefties at some point. Start now.
Roman Anthony was hitting like 370 against lefties in AAA this year. Like, there's genuinely zero reason not to start him. Dude, the Yankees are throwing out Ryan Yarbrough tomorrow. This is I'm going to the game tomorrow. Dude, I want to see Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer play. Give it to the home fans. Ryan Yarbrough's fastball is like 89 miles an hour. He is not a formidable. You're not going up against Chris Sale or any other nasty lefty in the MLB. Like, this is a replacement level fine starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. Let the kids play. Like, you brought them up for a reason. They have to learn to hit the lefties sooner than later. Like, why not just let them play? Yeah, you got Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder. I heard Alex Cora's comments today, like, you guys forget. We got Romy and Ref. I love Romy Gonzalez and Rob Refsnyder just as much as the next guy. That's not the future of this team. They're your platoons. They're great at what they do. They're good for you know, they're big league players, but they're platoons. They play anywhere in the field. They come in to pinch hit and they do a great job at it. But that's not the future of this team. The future of this team is Roman Anthony. It's Marcelo Meyer. I don't understand why there would be any reason to not play them against lefties. Like Roman Anthony is a good left-handed lefty hitter. Like he's Meyer's going to take some time to get used to, but that's every player that comes up from AAA.
Yeah, and just going back to Anthony batting, three whatever against lefties, and with the Woo Sox, they are typically lower caliber lefties because lefties kind of get the fast track to the show. So I understand why Cora's like, well, you can't hit lefties or whatnot, but it's like, buddy, this is the future. You said it perfectly, Skillings. This is the future of your organization. What are we gonna do every time that what is it gonna be in 5 years from now? They're gonna be in ALCS. It's like, oh, lefties out there can't play our best two players in the the playoffs or whatever it may be. It just the logic isn't like I see the logic. It just isn't good logic. Like the math doesn't math. It's like, okay, we have Romy and Ref who can hit lefties perfectly fine in the pinch and whatever, and they can platoon and play whatever position. But it's like these guys are gonna mash at some point. Just let them go out there. Like in game 2, he has a stand-up double to help win you that game. And then Meyer last night hits 2 home runs. It's like, dude, these kids have talent. Like, develop that talent. Part of developing young players is getting them to hit against lefties. So if it's going to be every game, or especially maybe not even every game, but a big series, oh, well, lefties, let's not have the kids out there. No, give them that big series game, Red Sox, Yankees, like at Fenway Park, give it to them. Like they've earned this. Not even they have earned it. We as fans have earned this. We've been waiting through a pretty sucky first quarter, first third of the season, first half of the season, whatever it may be. And first of all, we finally have a Yankees Red Sox matchup at Fenway Park, and we're in the middle of June at this point. And yeah, we had it at Yankee Stadium, but Yankee Stadium, you can't go to that game unless you go to New York, and I'm not going to New York. But now we have it at Fenway. We have the kids up here. Give the fans what they want. Like, yeah, the expectations for this team were sky high at the start of the season, and they have plummeted since first 2 weeks of the season. They've just been plummeting as the Red Sox have just been going further and further below 500. You might not make the playoffs. You might not hit my over 86.5 wins that I have $100 on. But you know what you can do? You can give me Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, and Christian Campbell at home against the Yankees with Garrett Crochet starting on Friday. Like, that is what I want.
This is where you want to be too. This is a perfect spot. This is what you have Garrett Crochet for. No matter, if you're 0-5, 0-4 in your last 4 games going into a Garrett Crochet start, good. You have them to turn the tides, stem it, stop the losing streak. When you're on a bit of a heater like they are right now, this is where you stack that momentum with a good start from Garrett Crochet, which is what I'm looking for tomorrow night. With Mayer and Anthony, like I do Cora's mentality and to an extent, right? Like they're 2 games under 500 right now. And you're gonna try and throw the best lineup out there you can. If they were, I don't know, 45-30 right now, Mayer and Anthony would be playing every game. Wouldn't be a problem. I do get the mindset, but I think the quicker you let these guys acclimate to the left-handed starters and let them be everyday players, the quicker they're going to be acclimated to it, the quicker this team is going to, turn around. If they, struggle in July, that's 30 games. Maybe by August, they're completely comfortable with it. And, when you're in August, you got 50 games left. If you're anywhere near the wild card race, that's where you want to be. Like, I understand stacking wins at this moment in time is the most important thing, but I think that comes when you give Mayer and Anthony the chance to grow with the momentum you're gaining right now. So,
Yeah, it'd be a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain is what we're looking at here, a high ROI if you want to see, return on your investment. Take the time now to develop these kids against the lefties. They might not win, they're gonna have bad games. It's gonna happen. We've seen it with Christian Campbell right now, which we're going to get to. How do they fix him? I think they've screwed the kid, and they screwed that kid over a little bit, which we'll get to. But
I think you'll see him start playing better now that Mayer and Anthony are up here, though. Like they came up together through the system. Like I do think there's a chance that this is exactly what Christian Campbell needs, is to see these familiar faces and feel way more at home at Fenway.
Yeah, and if they could just put the kid on one spot and just let him get set, baseball is such a mental game as it is physical. And I don't buy into the bouncing all these players around. Some guys like Cedon Rafaela, you can move the guy left, right, center, whatever the hell you want to put that guy. He's gonna show up and give you pretty much the same thing every single night. But with such a young player in Christian Campbell, a rookie, he didn't play a lot in Worcester at all. And then you bring him up, start of the season, he's at second base, then he's in the field. Now he's trying to play first base. Let's just get the kid set in one position. I think Abraham Toro can be your everyday first baseman. I mean,
Absolutely.
horns up for Toro, like the bull.
That guy's a stud, dude. He's
That
a
dude's a
stud.
dog. Again, the Red Sox just fall ass backwards into that one as well. Like, same with Narvaez. They just fall ass backwards into Narvaez, who's like one of my favorite players on the team right now
Yeah. Dude, that was
as
gonna be
well.
that was my next point too. Like, I would be way more concerned if with playing Mayer and Anthony every day if you didn't have Narvaez and you had Connor Wong back there who's doesn't he doesn't have an RBI this season. Like he's been awful. And if you had, some other random replacement level guy at first base, Toro and Narvaez are hitting the shit out of the ball. Like you have enough room right now to let the guy struggle. You know what I mean? Like God Narvaez, he has one of the prettiest swings. That home run he hit in New York when he pulled it down the left field line, the inside fastball, they talked about it on the broadcast. That's a big league home run. Like that's not a lot of times younger guys when they're getting used to the league, you see those home runs like Mayer had, that's a breaking ball that just gets hung down the middle. Narvaez took a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that was inside on his hands, turned it and crushed it down the left field line. That's a guy who is here and he's ready. Like he's so confident right now and he's swinging the bat so well. Like I'm confident with him there that you can let other guys struggle because he's swinging so well, because Trevor Story's swinging so well, because Toro's swinging well. You get Duran and Devers are both kind of back now. Like there you go. Like Mayer and Anthony, let them struggle a little bit. There's enough guys around him that it's their struggles will be super limited because there's so many guys hitting well.
Yeah, if it's like now's the time to let them struggle. Everybody's playing well on this team pretty much. Let those guys kind of pick up the young kids when they're struggling and help propel us to wins. Now, I don't want to get too gloom and doom, but we do have to acknowledge the reason they are up in the majors right now. It's because of injuries. Bregman gets hurt, Meyer comes up, Abreu is on a 10-day IL stint. I'm terrified for what is going to happen when Abreu and Bregman come back. Obviously, Bregman goes back to third base. Then it's what happens to Meyer? Where does Meyer go? How do we get this kid in the lineup consistently? I would have said 2 weeks ago when Meyer gets called up, when Bregman's back, Trevor Story, go sit down. But now with the way Trevor Story's playing, where do you put Meyer? Do you put him at second base and tell Campbell to go kick rocks and send him back down to Worcester to try to find some of his mojo and momentum back? And then when Abreu comes back, which will be sooner than Bregman, what happens to Anthony? We're gonna get a week and a half, 2 weeks of Roman Anthony, and then he's back down to Worcester. Abreu back in the field. It just comes back to the issue they had at the very start of the season when it would come to getting these guys on the roster. The logjam of players in their way. I like Willie Abreu. At times, he has been the hottest hitter on this team, but I don't want him in the way of Roman Anthony. I like Cedon Rafaela. I think he's a Gold Glove. He's amazing in the field. What he does defensively, his bat's heating up. He's still young, but I don't like him more than Marcelo Meyer or Roman Anthony. I don't like him more than Christian Campbell. So how do you think this plays out when the team is fully healthy again? Same thing in about a year and a half when next season when Casas is back. What happens with Toro? Like there's some guys on this team, the young guys on this team, who are performing. Meyer, Anthony, Toro. They're up here because of injuries. What happens when the players come back from injury? Now Toro with Casas, that's a year away. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I'll deal with that. Future Thomas will deal with that problem in his head. But with a Bregman coming back soon, with Abreu coming back soon, what happens to these young guys?
Hands down, what cannot happen, Mayer and Anthony are here for good. Dude, I would be so like I would lose all confidence in the Red Sox organization if they sent those two guys down. I think Christian Campbell could use some time because we've seen him here for 2.5 months now. The consistency is not there. He definitely could have used another. He probably could have used another full year in Worcester. I don't hate sending him down. Mayer and Anthony, I would put Mayer back at short and try and shift Trevor Story to second base. I think that is the easiest kind of way around the whole situation. Like if Trevor Story keeps swinging it the way he is right now, you don't necessarily need like I don't know. I think Bregman at third, Mayer at short, Story at second, Abraham Taro at first is the best infield you're going to field if when Bregman does come back. With Wilyer Abreu, I almost hope that the 10-day IL stint gives him a chance to reset because like he was the hottest hitter on the planet for the first 3 weeks of the season, and since then he's just been floating around and he's good for a couple of games, then he's bad for 10. Like he's a super young guy. Like he is. There's so many young guys on this team. I think when he comes back, you do have to look at as much as it pains me to say this, it truly does. I think Jaron Duran being traded is maybe the way around everything. Like I don't that's it it would take a lot to do it. Like I've seen some mock-up trades from San Diego, which is the team that's been, looking at him the most. I'm not taking more prospects and random guys. Like it's got to be, a really solid bullpen arm, maybe a starting pitcher, something like that. I also wouldn't hate shopping around Wilyer Abreu. Like he's definitely got a lot of trade value. I think Rafaela is the guy that's got to stick around here. Like that guy is his swing for a smaller guy is so smooth and he has so much power there. Like when he strings it together and gets consistent, he is a big league everyday player. He is already, but like when that consistency comes in, he could be an all-star level player most of the time. I think your ideal outfield looks like Rafaela in center, Duran in left, Roman Anthony in right. Whether you want to look at trading Duran or Abreu, I think moving one of those two guys is probably the way around the logjam.
So I would have before, and again, assuming makes an ass out of you and me, I would have assumed because I believe Abreu, you're like a cousin to me, bro. Love you, bro. However, you're not Roman Anthony. I love Roman Anthony. I love the Anthony family as well. Anthony, Leah Anthony, the mom, Grandpa Anthony. I love them all. They're royalty in my eyes now. However, somebody has to move out of the way for this kid. And I figured it would have been Abreu or Rafaela. Before the season started, I said a Wilyer Abreu is the guy this team needs to trade. Cedon gives you too much flexibility in the outfield and a guy who can still develop his swing. Abreu, Gold Glove, when he started off super hot, his trade value was, I was like, oh, this guy's going to have awesome trade value come June, July. Let's ship him out, get a bullpen. Excuse me, you said it perfectly. Get a bullpen arm, get a starting pitcher, and then just roll with, Duran, Cedon, Anthony in the outfield, whatever way you want to put it. And then the infield, Bregman, Meyer, Story, Toro, and then your starting pitcher in Narvaez. Like that is your rotation. That is your outfield. That is your defense. It almost seems too simple that the Red Sox just won't do it, Skillings. It seems too obvious they're just not going to do it.
If I see Zach Kelly out there in the eighth, ninth, or 10th inning in a less than 3-run game again, I might punch a hole in my wall. That guy infuriates me to the farthest extent. I cannot stand that guy. Um, the bullpen is hands down where you need somebody. And I think the value you're going to get in a guy like Wilyer Abreu, like, again, yeah, he's been inconsistent this year, but that's a young guy with so much potential. He's a absolute rocket for an arm. Like, he is one of the best outfield arms in the MLB. Um, his value right now is, I think, worth a good relief pitcher. Um, that's the only thing the Sox should be looking at right now. Like, you're so loaded up in terms of the infield and outfield. I wouldn't. There's no need to add. Like I think the lineup is going to figure itself out at a certain point. Like you just have had so many streaky streaks of Trevor Story's terrible. Now he's hot. Rafi Devers was awful. Now he's the best hitter in the MLB. Like Rafaela was terrible. Now he's hot. Like if you can find any happy medium in the lineup, I think this is a good lineup. I think this is a playoff lineup. The bullpen is just the biggest area. Like Garrett Whitlock has had a super underwhelming season. Chapman's really been, from day one to June 12th, I think he's been the only consistent good arm so far. The bullpen, for what seems like the last million years, is what they need to upgrade at the trade deadline.
Yeah, so let's get to that right now because that's a perfect segue. The pitching on this team, starting, relief, closing, besides Garrett Crochet and Chapman, so pretty much between your best starter and your best closer has been inconsistent as all hell throughout the entire season. You'll get a good bit. I mean, going into the season, it was awesome. We're gonna have Crochet, Hauk, Bayo. There's your 1, 2, 3. Dobbins, Bueller, whoever the hell else Giolito can kind of figure out where they're gonna go. But after Crochet, the starting pitching has just fallen off a map for this season. In the middle of May, April, Giolito had a good start a few days ago. Dobbins had a good start a few days ago. Bueller had an type of start, like could have been better, could have been a lot worse. However, if the starting pitchers can just be average at best, and then Crochet is just your dog, I don't know what happened to Tanner Houck. They need to do like a research study on what happened to him post All-Star break last year, because for the last 10 months, he's just been a completely different ball player. Brian Bayo has never been my favorite pitcher. To me, I say this every time I talk about Brian Bayo. To me, he is like a boxer. He needs to feel the blood on his face to start pitching well. And once he feels the blood, he's locked in. However, the blood sometimes is eight runs, and that's just going to put you out of the game for the rest of the game. So they need to figure out their starting pitching. Giolito's been he had a good start. Let's see if he can string together a few more good starts. Bayo, had a good start. Let's see if he can string a few together. See if Tanner Houck can just figure himself out. I know he's injured right now, right? Yeah, he's on the IL, so maybe he comes back and he's a different player again. But from what we had seen so far, he had been terrible. So to me, the starting pitching is the issue more than the bullpen, because if they can just stay in these games, if they can just, if they can get out of the first inning without allowing like 8 runs, I feel like they have a good shot at most of these games, Skillings.
Yeah, it's, you have the right pieces, which is the frustrating part. Like, Walker Bueller has been a stud in the MLB. He's been inconsistent, but like he has experience of being, a number 2 guy in LA. Like when he finds it, it's his stuff is good enough to be the number 2 starter here. Brian Bayo, his changeup has been the biggest problem this year. Like that's always been his go-to breaking ball. And he just hasn't had it the entire year. He started to look better. Again, like it's like so much of the rest of the team. When this starting rotation finds consistency, the pieces are there. If your rotation is Crochet, Bueller, Bayo, Giolito is where it falls off. You know what I mean? Like that guy's been atrocious. Cutter Crawford, who knows? Like that guy might have just disappeared into a void. Like where has he been? I think the starting pitching though, like I said with a lot of other things, is the kind of thing that is gonna figure itself out at some point. You have to hope. I think the bullpen is the easier thing to upgrade, because I don't know how many solid starters you're going to get for any of your trade pieces. Like, I don't know how many number 3 guys are available for a Willie Abreu, for a Masa Yoshida. Again, that guy's where
oh my god, I forgot the guy existed.
Yeah, dude, I was talking about the outfield a minute ago, and I completely forgot he existed. But I think
that dude's making like 10 million AAV, isn't he? He's making a crazy amount of money.
A ton of money. Like I have no idea. He'll never play the outfield again in Boston. Like I
don't think he's ever going to play in Boston.
No, he probably won't.
But the way Devers has been a DH, just don't touch. I mean, again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Devers a DH. I don't know why people want to put him in first base or third base. He's mashing and it opens up more spot for the young guys. I think the Devers conversation has been stupid, but he's the best hitter in the MLB right now. Let him be.
Yeah, I think he started taking ground balls at first. Sam Kennedy made a comment the other night.
He was at like shortstop or whatever, and he was like taking ground balls. It's like, all right, go take all the ground balls you want at shortstop, because your fat ass is never gonna play there.
He's like 250.
Mini Pablo Sandoval. You're talking about Bayo. Everybody's like, ooh, Brian Bayo, Mini Pedro, like baby Pedro. Probably talk about Gorilla, baby Gorilla Devers, like he's little, baby panda, like that. Oh, yeah. I mean, he is again.
I mean,
chunky
don't
dude hits bombs.
Don't put him on Pablo Sandoval's level, like.
Hey, chunky dude hits bombs. I'm okay with that. Love Devers.
Yeah. The Sox did just make a trade late last night. I saw it on Twitter.
They picked up a pitcher. He's got like an 8.3 ERA. He'll fit right in.
This guy's been atrocious. He's an ERA of 8.88 in 24 this year. 29 hits, 24 earned runs. He has 28 strikeouts. I'm sure he's a strikeout guy. They do this every year. They get this random bullpen guy who has a million ERA. It's not going to fix your problems. They didn't get really for him.
And that's been like, a microcosm of pretty much all of the like most of the pitchers on this team is there guys who like again this guy. I mean, saw the same thing like a year ago. He had like a three ERA through like 52 games, whatever the hell it was, or like something along those lines. He had a good ERA, but now he's broken, and the Red Sox are like, ooh, we can fix him. If you haven't realized, Boston, pretty much any pitcher who comes in here, once they leave, they get better. Chris Sale, Nick Pivetta, once they leave, they get better. You are the rock bottom for these pitchers. Like, this guy's, I, I don't, what the hell's this dude's name? Do you have a name on this guy? Or you just have
What
his
they
stats?
traded for? Yeah,
Yeah.
Jorge Alcala.
Jorge Alcada, what, not Alcott,
Alcala.
huh?
Jorge Alcala.
Alcala, I hope you do great things, buddy. I'm not expecting much from you, bro. Like, welcome to Boston, buddy. You're probably gonna have rock bottom at your career right here. But hopefully I'm wrong. I'm rooting for you, pal. Um, who'd they even give up for that? It's probably some prospect, no name.
It was. I literally didn't know who it was.
Yeah, no name prospect.
Andy Lugo.
Never heard of this kid a day in my life. Congratulations to all parties involved. Can't wait to see this guy with an 8 ERA on the Red Sox. He's gonna slide right in.
Andy Lugo is a 21-year-old prospect who was in. He's with the Greenville Spinners, High A this year. So
Congratulations. Can't wait to see this guy in a Red Sox uniform. They're gonna they got Zach Kelly's not gonna play, but Jorge, whatever the hell his last name is gonna go out there and let 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th.
I don't know. Maybe this guy throws like 102 miles an hour, and that's where they're gonna channel it. But there's no. I watched that the Clubhouse series on Netflix, and Andrew Bailey came across great in that series. Since then, like, what is he doing? Like, everybody's like, oh my god, he just turned Tanner Houck last year. They're like, he just turned Tanner Houck into a Cy Young candidate. Since then, Tanner Houck has like a 10 ERA in his last like 30 starts between last year and this year. I don't know that Andrew Bailey is making pitchers better. The only 2 guys who've been consistent this year are Garrett Crochet and Aroldis Chapman. Chapman's 95 years old, and Garrett Crochet is Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, they were established guys before they
Yeah,
got here.
and
I don't know.
Bayo's not necessarily improving. I don't know that he's getting worse, but he's not
Here's how's it getting better.
he's not on the trajectory you kind of saw him going on, which I think is the biggest problem. I'm not calling for Andrew Bailey's head, but I don't know. Maybe that's a place to look to shake things up.
It's all the drive line stuff with that nerd Craig Breslow, bro. I mean, I put all of the issues on Breslow. I just think he's way too analytical. You can look at numbers all you want, this, that, say, ooh, if this guy has, if this guy hits XYZ against lefties, this should happen. Well, you know what? If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike buddy, okay? But she doesn't. So let's let Alex Cora manage the ball club the way he seems fit in the middle of the game. Those in-game decisions, when to pull, if the Garrett Crochet thing from like a month ago where he was capped at 85 pitches, well, and he was like, well, we've seen in our stats when Crochet goes over, X, Y, and Z happens. So if he gets to 85, you want to pull him. Again, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike, okay? Let's not look at analytics like it's, the end-all, be-all, because if that's what we're going to do, you may as well have a robot manage the team or a monkey, because you're going to make the decisions based on a number and a piece of paper. Some of it comes from feel, okay? It really does come from feel. Like, if Crochet's at 85, but he's mashing out, he's not mashing, he's just shoving out there, let him shove until he's, Cora's like, all right, let's not worry about the arm. And the whole, we have to save the arms for later in the season. Well, right now, there isn't no later in the season, okay? You guys are 4 or 5 games below 500. You're like 4 or 5 out of the wild card, whatever it may be. Let's get to there first, and we'll worry about that problem later. And if it comes down to where they make the wild card and they lose, and it's like, oh, well, we need to Crochet to be more fresh. All right, now you know what your offseason is going to be. Find a starting pitcher that isn't, first of all, sign players that aren't broken and to be in the pitching rotation, try to fix them. And just find a guy who can actually, can be a reliable number 2, number 3. It seems too simple. It really does seem so simple that it's just not going to work out this way.
As much as I do hate nerds and analytics and baseball. I don't hate the idea of using those analytics like the third time through the order kind of thing. And once you get to X number of pitches, like if you do that with like Hunter Dobbins and you do that with Garrett Whitlock when he goes, long relief, If you do that with Lucas Giolito, fine by me. But when you have this ace, this Cy Young candidate, and Garrett Crochet out there, that guy knows what's best for him. He takes such good care of his arm and his health. Like he is not. He's gonna push himself because he is such a dog. He's so wired mentally to leave everything he has on the field and leave everything that he knows he can do to the point before he tears his shoulder. Like I think you have to use the eye test with these studs. Like use the eye test. Look at Garrett Crochet and you see him, after the sixth inning, yeah, he's at 90 pitches. He's coming off the mound like, yeah, like that's a guy who's you don't want to take out of the game. He's gonna give you one more good inning. Like, and if he doesn't, you get a guy up in the bullpen, he lets up 2 hits in the seventh. All right, pull him. But like it's a frustrating thing when you have an ace and you have such a dog like Garrett Crochet and you're letting analytics determine stuff when this is just a guy who is so driven by compete.
I mean, that is a great point, Skillings. If they want to use Driveline, their analytics, their numbers on the sucky guys, Dobbage, Giolito, Bueller, Bayo, like the guys they're getting less of for, and maybe use the numbers and the analytics to kind of squeeze the best amount of baseball out of them per that game, by all means. But the stars, the Crochets of the world, even when it comes to the hitting side of things, with Anthony Meyer, not letting them hit against lefties, things of that nature. Let the stars be the stars and let Cora deal with that in the moment based on what he's seeing and how they're feeling. That's what they need to. They need to find the balance because right now it's like Driveline is the holy Bible and the Bible says this should happen and that will happen and Cora just has to go and do what he's told. Read the numbers from it. It's like giving the gospel at mass. Like they read the gospel and then they give the homily. The priest, he gives the message of the day based on the gospel for the homily. That's what Cora needs to be doing with Driveline. He needs to be reading it and then feeling based on what's going on in the world and things of that nature in the game. God damn it. And then make the best decision possible for the baseball team. They have to find that equilibrium, that balance, and they haven't found it yet. So I do think there's this push-pull from Breslow and Cora, which we're going to see for the rest of the season. And I hope Alex Cora wins because I like Cora more than Breslow. And it's not on a personal thing. I'm more of a... I don't understand I don't like numbers to begin with, Skillings. You know this about me. I am terrible with numbers. The only numbers I know are gambling odds and, a line and, a plus and a minus. Those are the only numbers I know. I don't, all these baseball stats, WAR, OPS, like the really, like you can get really specific about it. I don't like numbers. I want to take the numbers I don't want to take them out of the game, but I want to take as little numbers as I can into the game and let the guy that I have faith in, Alex Cora, despite some of the really bad comments and games he's had this year, I still have faith in this guy. So let's let the guy manage.
Yeah, going back to pitching, like the frustrating thing there is not to put myself on a pedestal here, I'm not a good baseball player, but I've pitched for a long time. Pitching is so much about feel and having command of what you throw best. Like when Garrett Crochet is locating his fastball up in the zone, not a single player is touching that. Like he understands the command and when he has it and when he doesn't. Like no pitcher's ever going to be like, "Hey, AC, you got to take me out. Like I'm not feeling it today." But like he knows it, and Alex Cora knows it, especially with Crochet. Like you can see when his command dwindles, when anybody's command dwindles. Like when Garrett Crochet has it, he's, there's no need to look at the numbers.
I agree with you, and I'm sorry, Skillings. I just got a scam text message from Lorid Cock 2492. Apparently, I have an outstanding traffic ticket.
Dude, no, I got the exact same text this morning.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Hold on.
Was it from Lorid Cock?
That's from a random non-US.
It's like an email at cyber. Like this literally has scam written all over it. First of all. At cyberservices.com.
+63. What country is that?
I don't know. I deleted that one. So I didn't hear a word you said. I was too busy reading my outstanding traffic ticket that I'm required to pay by law if I have to click on that link. I took my cybersecurity very seriously at Curry College. I took my classes. But you made great points.
My text is from the Philippines, so I'm sure that.
I got mine from an email. So Huna, Prince of Africa needs my help, bro. I got it. He needs me. But no, I think you make a great point with the pitching. It's about command, it's about feel. And the guys that are good, let them go off of that. The guys that are bad, you want to use your analytics to kind of get the best out of them. By all means, I'm cool with that. I don't think they're good to begin with, so I'm not too frustrated watching them come out the game. Just when the reliever starts to piss me off, make sure you pull that guy out the game before he gets on my nerves. Kind of how I go with the pitching. It's very, very simple. I want to see Crochet go 7, 6, 7 every single day. The rest of the guys just don't put it first. Huh?
6, 7.
Yeah, I don't get what that all is about. I've
I
seen it
don't
on
either.
TikTok.
I don't either. Yeah.
Yeah, but you are a brain rock guy.
Oh yeah.
Big brain rock guy. Same with Nate. But I'm pretty hopeful. I really do think this is a turning point in the season with the Red Sox. However, I've said that 5 times already this season. So hopefully this is the one. We have the kids. We have I'm happy to talk about the team right now. And that hasn't been that way for the past 3 weeks because I've really just been saying, where is Anthony? Where's Meyer? What the hell is Cora saying? And now we have something positive to talk about. We have a 2-run game from a 2-home run game for Marcelo Meyer, and his first season, first month in the big leagues, he's getting that. And yeah, you said it best, Skillings. They weren't impressive pitches he turned on, but he still turned on them, and that gives me hope that he's going to be able to find his pitches. Anthony has stand-up 2-run double in his second game. His family is, I don't like to use the word iconic, but I love that family. Just the most Italian family you've ever seen before. Like, they're going to fit in right in Boston. Like, welcome to
his dad looked like Tony Soprano.
Oh my God, he looked like Paulie Walnuts with like the hair pulled back, bro.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Anthony seems like a great guy. But so does his brother, Anthony. I mean, just Anthony is a great name. Like Tony, it's awesome.
My brother's name.
I know, but imagine your brother being Skillings. It's pretty much what it is.
Or Anthony.
Yeah, if your last name was maybe he marries Leah Anthony and he takes her name. He could be Anthony. But I think that's gonna do it for today's episode. Duck Boat Dispatch, episode 5. No Sarah, no Josh. They will be back next week, hopefully. Work's a bitch. That's what it comes down to. Scheduling comes into a pain. We appreciate you stepping in, Skillings. I do as well because I would have done this by myself, and I don't think I would hit the 1 hour mark. Make sure you subscribe. Duck Boat Dispatch on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. We have a TikTok. It's out there. I don't know if we posted anything yet, but it's out there. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Show some love to Skillings as well. We appreciate him being here. We'll be back next week with hopefully the full crew on the Duck Boat Dispatch. This will not be the last time you see Skillings. He's kind of our fill-in guy, which we appreciate as well. And he's also our hockey insider. He's on an actual one, but he's ours. And he's pretty much our baseball insider too, because again, we don't have those yet. Which is super nice to have as well. And I think next week what we're going to start doing, a little tease for next week, there's like 10 weeks to the NFL first preseason game. We're going to start giving our top 5s for each position. So we'll do our top 5 QBs in the league, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Josh, Sarah, and I will debate those as well, so you hear that. I am sure Sarah is going to have a very interesting top 5 for every single position because she goes based off of who she likes and things like that, which is a riot. But again, episode 5, Duck Boat Dispatch. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back next week. Thank you, Skillings.
Waiting for you to sign off there?
You can just say, I appreciate it.
I was liking it. I was listening.
No, you got too hyped up. Episode 5. Make sure you tune back in next week. I hit the wrong button. There we go.